was great to find you on the we were in the conference together, embodied.
Yeah, yeah.
Um
That was a good conference.
that was
Lots of
great.
good stuff in
That was
there.
great. I know I feel like I missed about 90%, 99%, but I got what I could get out of it. So that was good.
Yeah, I did buy it, so
Oh,
I continue to pop in
yeah.
and
That's
watch some stuff, and yeah.
yeah, I took a lot of notes, so I still haven't filtered through what I want to go
Oh yeah.
through. Yeah, so we kind of found each other through grief, a grief story.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I guess maybe we should just start with you introducing yourself and just telling us a little bit about where you are and what you do.
Okay, there's a lot to it. I'm actually a nurse
Okay.
working in COVID, so it's crazy times right now, but I'm also a grieving mother.
Yeah,
So I lost my son November 2017. So, and I do have a picture of him. That's my boy.
he's so handsome.
He
Yes.
is.
And
Yeah, he is.
you're
Yeah.
located, you're in Canada, right?
Yep. We're in Canada, Alberta, Canada. So we're about the middle of Alberta, but not too far to the mountains, about 3 hours to the Rocky Mountains. So
Mhm.
yeah, and we live out on an acreage with, I have quadding trails and hiking trails behind me, and
That's great.
it's my sanity.
Yeah, I just got back from walking the dog and got in the shower. My husband had the day off, so luckily I had some self-care. So yeah,
Nice.
why don't I ask you about that? Like what before before
Sure.
um before the grief, what were some things
Yep.
that you did to take care of yourself in general?
Not as much as I've learned to do now. As a nurse, I knew I needed downtime.
Yeah.
So I did yoga.
Hmm.
I did a fair bit of yoga. Just nature and me are huge. So
Yeah.
anytime I'm in nature, I feel grounded. I
Hmm.
feel like I can calm myself down. But then the natural things that women do for ourselves, the hot bath and the just downtime, reading a good book or listening to a great podcast.
Yeah.
Those are all wonderful things. So
Thinking- yeah.
yeah, drinking my tea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made tea just before we came on, just so I could kind of decompress. I walked my dogs earlier too, so
Yeah, it's just a moment to take a breath. I keep
yeah,
I keep like my oils here too if I need to just take a little sensory
yeah,
relax, just to settle into my body.
yeah, you
Um,
betcha.
yeah, because I mean I'm an I'm like an introverted extrovert, I guess. So
Yep,
I need to like really ground myself to get the energy to talk to people. But if I'm out all
yeah,
day, I mean as a nurse,
yeah,
as a teacher, I was
yeah,
very wiped out at the end of the day. I wasn't really able to like keep grounded.
yeah,
So,
you betcha.
yeah. So,
And as we get older, we learn we need to be more grounded.
yes. And then we go through lots of life changes. So, um
Yep,
it's just, layers on top of layer on layer, and if you're not taking care of yourself, then
yep,
yeah, you get really out of control. So, let's go back to your
you
grief
betcha.
story so that if you're not taking care of yourself and something like that happens, I mean, that's a huge change for you. Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Can you explain how much, how the change,
Well,
I guess it's
yeah,
3 years, so you've been through
a lot, and I've learned a lot, and I've grown a lot, and I talk a lot. So I talk on grief. I talk about him. I share his story. When it first happened, it was an absolute shock. My husband and I actually found him and did CPR. And then he was pronounced in the hospital I worked at. So you can't get any more traumatized than that.
Yeah.
So it was just, I think I was numb for the first several months.
Yeah.
And then I started searching. I started searching for help because I was off work, not long enough, but and the stuff they were sending me was not helpful. You know, go talk to a psychologist for a while. He wasn't actually talking to me about grief.
Right.
So I searched out people. I searched out a really good grief fellow near us, not very far from us, and he actually hooked me up with a grief companion. And that was probably the best thing that ever happened to me because she was someone who lost her son 15 years prior, but she was also a retired nurse.
Yeah.
So
You
you
gotta find that.
couldn't have got a better connection for the two of us. So that was
Yeah.
huge.
You know, as
And,
soon as I started sharing my story, I lost both my
mhm,
parents within 6 months of each other to cancer.
yeah,
It's just people start coming out of the
yeah.
woodwork, and when we talk about it, um, yeah, it's really important that you find people that you connect with because
Uh,
we don't have a lot of grief culture.
yeah.
So
Not enough. Not enough. And you have to search to find it.
yeah,
You have to search to find the people that are willing to talk about grief and be open with their grief. And that's why I started writing a blog, and I started a Grief Warrior page and started connecting with people that were going through the same stuff as me.
yeah,
And for different grief reasons, whatever it may be, losing their parents, losing their child, losing a brother, whatever it may be. And the circumstances were different, but the feelings are all the same. They're all
yeah,
there. And we just need to either be able to listen and hear from others or speak our truth.
yep,
And I'm a speak my truth kind of gal. So it's been life changing for me. I've had so many connections. I've connected with groups that speak on. I lost him to an overdose, an accidental overdose, and he was a recreational drug user. So I've connected to so many people in that venue, so many other mothers who have lost their children. So I belong to a group that fights for, you know, the governments to listen about drug policy and all those sorts of things. And um, just anybody will listen to his story and hear his story and maybe learn from his story. And I feel like he's just right here by
yeah,
my side going, "Had to go, mama. Let's
yeah,
save some lives today."
yep.
Yeah, yeah,
You have to find
absolutely.
the purpose in the pain.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a reason. Um, and when you said those first few months were just you're
yeah.
just stuck. You just
Numb.
you have yeah
Just numb.
you have to go through that and then find some purpose to go to latch on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, to keep going, to find my way. So, and the grief companion kind of helped lead me out of that dark space
yeah,
because she just listened and she just allowed me to talk. Yet she would also share if I asked her to share,
mhm,
but she was just there to companion, just to be beside me if I needed her. So, and we've become very, very close friends now.
that's great.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
one of my the director of my yoga studio, we
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I said, you just start finding people that connect, and we had no idea that there was this connection that we both lost our mom. We met really recently,
Yeah,
and
right.
just people we got into.
That's my phone.
I forgot to silence mine too.
Yeah, I never even thought of it actually.
No, we so the deeper we got into conversation, just the more connections we could find, and until we figured out they had the same exact birthday, our
Oh,
mom.
wow.
It was just
Wow.
there was a reason we were coming together.
That you came together.
I
Yeah.
strongly believe that. So I'm glad you were able to, come on and talk because I'm sure there's a reason.
Yeah.
there's
Yep.
somebody that's gonna.
I believe that too. The reasons we never know why, but they sure come around at some point. You find why. Why was I drawn to that moment to speak to her, or
Yeah.
right? Or why were we drawn to each other through very distance wise, just because of grief,
Yeah.
period.
And
Yeah.
actually, what stood out to me was your grief warrior. I used
Yep.
I latched onto that before I saw that. I was like,
Yeah.
I want to write a book or something that is about
Yeah.
that, and so that just really drew me to you. And so when I post the video, I'd love for you to put your link to find your blog
Yeah.
and things like that. So if
For
someone
sure.
if someone wants to find you.
If it resonates, yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
So I
Uh,
have a couple more questions. Let me see. Um,
sure.
so after the initial shock and numbness, so how would you say, you know, this has really changed your outlook or changed the way you take care of
Ooh.
yourself?
In
Um,
so many ways, I know self-care is everything for me, because in the midst of COVID and burnout, and then you add a layer of grief on top of that.
yeah,
Yeah, and I've learned to not take extra days at work. I have a meditation room set up.
yeah.
That's my space, and
A safe place, yes.
I have my essential oils. I have all my stones. I smudge.
Yeah,
Um, yep. I sit, I meditate, and I have learned just recently. I started to pull cards, and the cards really resonate with
yeah,
me.
like tarot cards.
Yeah,
Yeah, just
yeah.
these simple
It's
messages.
huge. Just little messages to kind of ground me to the day, and what are they trying to lead me, where are you leading me to, what's next in
Yeah,
the journey, right? So, and they're quite interesting. What will come out of them? It's just, I even my husband now says, what did your card say today? Like, wow.
awesome.
But I really spiritually, I've come full circle. I've always believed in a God or a being of some sort, and that's from nursing, from being with people that pass away. Losing my son, I was angry for the first while, very not understanding, and now he has brought me to a place of more spirituality, of more grounding, of knowing he is right here beside me. There's just a thin veil between us.
Mhm.
I did last year, I did 100 days of Eric, actually 111 days of Eric, because he died November 1st, which is 111. So
Okay.
very spiritual numbers.
Yeah.
And I never actually thought of it until last year that that was the date. And I see 111s all the time, and he shows signs. So I started this 111 days of Eric. And every day I posted signs that he showed me.
Wow.
And I get a lot of people grieving going, well, I don't see them. I said, they're there.
Yeah.
You just have to open your heart to that, right? Open to the unknown. When
Yeah.
that dime is sitting in front of you, when that feather is sitting there for some reason, when the bird shows up for no reason. Yeah,
For me, it's a lot of music.
yeah. I
Yeah.
have music too. Often before I'm going on Zoom or something, I listen to my music, and his songs come on, the songs that mean so much to him and I.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's our connection. I know right away that he's right here. Yeah,
Yeah, I would love to see 111 days. It's there's
yeah.
just yeah, um
And it forces you. It forced me at a time, as I started it right around the most difficult time of the year for me. His angel anniversary, his birthday's in.
you still there?
Not.
Okay.
Oh, there you are. You paused for a second.
Okay. Yeah, the internet went out a little
Yeah.
bit. Okay. So you were saying you started it around his birthday and then the anniversary as well. And then
Yeah.
I think I missed the rest.
Yeah, it just was a great way to find purpose every day
Yeah.
and find his messages and have something to be grateful for.
Yeah.
That he's able to give me those messages, and grateful that I'm open enough to see them now. I
Yeah.
really open my heart to that.
I just love having a daily gratitude practice for
Yeah.
that. I mean, you don't have to have the best day of your life, but if you
Nope.
can be thankful for a couple of things, you know, it just keeps your mind in the
Yeah.
right place. So,
Yeah.
and I wanted to touch on that 11 because that number has
Mhm.
been, my son has been saying that number since he was really,
Yeah.
I don't know why, but he's latched on to 11, and he's going to be Hulk when he turns 11.
I love it.
His birthday is 11, and it's just,
Yeah.
he reminds me of my dad almost daily. So I really love that
Yeah.
he can be
And
that.
that's probably his way of speaking through,
Mhm.
right? Being a part of your son.
Yeah. So there's just another connection I wanted to make with that number.
Yeah.
Really beautiful. I look forward to reading more about your
Yeah.
son, and all the
He's
memories.
a good guy. Yeah. He's a good guy. And we keep sharing him with everyone. I actually had a couple of his closest friends came by this past weekend. They were home. They came by for a good visit, and they remind me of him and how life does go on. Eric's doesn't, but they see signs of him. They know he's around. They, remember him always. So
What a
that's huge for me. And they connect with us. So they continue to connect with us, which is what we need. So it's helpful.
That's great.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so just to wrap up, I guess, um, what would you, how would you define grief? Because my group that I have, my Facebook group, I call
Hmm.
it navigating life's changes, because
Right.
grief doesn't have to be about losing a loved one. This year,
No, it doesn't.
has
Yep.
been, it's been really hard.
Grief.
It has been a lot of grief, and I think
Yep.
that, you know, us knowing that can really help
Yep.
other people navigate this huge change in their life. I
Hmm.
don't know what advice you have for just that.
Well, yeah, and I agree. Like grief is happening around us all the time. Mourning is living through it and being open to it and speaking about it and reaching out.
Yeah.
Reaching out when it really gets heavy, because it does get heavy. It gets heavy with us nurses working on the front lines. It gets heavy with the person who can't see their grandchildren every day. Like all those grief moments.
Yes.
I think, in my opinion, the hardest part has been not connecting, but we have the ways to connect.
Yeah, we need
We
to.
have learned a new way to connect. We've learned there is Zoom, there is the phone calls, there is those moments we can connect at all, in so many different ways, even writing the letter. I've written more letters this year than I've ever written
Yeah,
before.
I know. I
So
started sending cards to my friends whenever,
yeah,
you know, I was like, this is gonna be
yeah,
a shut down. I better start.
exactly. And just and to reach out when it is too heavy. Like grief, it needs to be shared, in my opinion. And to do it all alone is very difficult. I have one of my sons who's trying to do it alone, and it's biting him. Mentally, it's kicking him in the butt. And then you add COVID on top of it, and it's even worse. You can't hide from it anymore. It's with you every day.
Yep.
So, yeah,
That complex trauma. Yes.
you betcha. Yeah.
Oh, and
So,
there was one more thing I wanted to mention. I
Hmm.
noticed you're reading that book,
Yeah.
The Body Keeps the Score, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, that's why I really enjoy the yoga, the trauma informed yoga.
Yep.
I've
Yep.
I have a certification for kids to help kids with that.
Excellent. Yep.
But yeah, our body just if you're
It
having
does.
an illness or a pain or
Yep.
something that's just nagging at you, you have to talk. You have to talk it out.
Yep.
You have to get
And there's something in there. There's something way back, and it's
yeah,
sometimes hard to find it, but it's there. We all have traumas from way back when that we've buried deep inside, and they come out. They will come out
yeah,
sooner or later, like you said, in your body. That's where we'll see it. And as a nurse, you can see it in people,
yeah,
and then you hear their life, and you go, well, it's no wonder,
yeah,
right? So I've always had a struggle because as a nurse, I've worked intensive care and emerge, but I also was the nurse that worked psych while I was working emergency and ICU, and those nurses would be, what are you doing? Like
so heavy.
they they don't go together, and you go, but they do. They do in every way. The mental affects the body, and it's
Yeah,
together. And if we don't start to look at the whole body, we're never going to help people. We can help them I can get your sugars under control from your diabetes, but if you're going to go home and just bury that pain and eat,
right.
we're not going to get you anywhere. You're going to be right back here. So, yeah, absolutely.
A holistic approach.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, and I
Most
think that's
definitely.
really the message my parents are giving me is I can help people with their body, getting in
Yep.
touch with their body because they died very young, um,
Right.
barely 60 and 62.
Ugh, yeah.
Um, it was because of stress and not dealing with trauma and
Yeah.
just catching up with them, and so that's really why I've ch- I it, grief changed my entire life. I moved
Yeah.
from the classroom to this, so
I know everybody keeps telling me that too with my nursing that well, you need to be going back to that mental health. You need to be going back to that grief work. You need to be because you're good at it.
it's pulling us.
And yeah, I'm focused on it. That's why, I'm focused on grief. I'm focused on honoring Eric in every way possible
Yeah,
and saving some lives. If we can save a couple of lives in the meantime, just like going to the homeless mission last weekend or this past weekend for Eric for Christmas, it was awe-inspiring. These people, most dealing with alcohol and drug abuse, homeless, they heard me. They listened to me. They loved the gifts we gave them, but they really did listen to the message about Eric
yeah,
and why I was there. And I made it clear I was honoring Eric, but I was also honoring their journey. I was honoring you guys are on your own journey and you are where you are.
yep,
Now we can all do better, yes, but it's little steps, reaching out, doing this, doing that. And then we were honored with a smudging ceremony
uh,
because most of them are native and they came out and just honored myself and my friends and my husband with the smudging ceremony. And I'm like, that's full circle.
yes,
That's full circle. To smudge is to smudging is a way of honoring our loved ones who are gone before and to cleanse our body and to cleanse our soul. And it was interesting because one of the fellows who was actually speaking and talking about it, when he saw me smudging my whole body, he was like, you get it, you're cleansing your body and your soul. And I yes, that's the way I honor. That's the way I honor. And I was honored by them. So I was quite taken back that they honored us that way. So it was kind of a full circle.
it's just
Beautiful.
that message you get that you're in the right place at the right time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Exactly.
yeah. Well, I could probably talk to you forever,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
probably should wrap it up so I can
Yeah.
say goodbye and
I'm
not.
glad we could chat. I'm glad we got this figured out. So,
Thank you so much.
yeah, absolutely.